In this video, I am continuing my playthrough of Axis Empires, and I'm now into the winter turn of 1940. So it is November and December, and the Axis in the European part reveals another treaty card as the strategy. And there's a historical note on that card from Adolf where he said, "We are now standing on this continent, and from where we stand, nobody will be able to remove us again." So that's an interesting historic quote. I'm sure that's what he thought. And so this time, Germany tries to manipulate Bulgaria, and it ends up joining the Axis. So 2 more infantry units are deployed to the map, and then we go on to the Western Allies. Now, they reveal the strategy Operation Compass. So this is historically when this happened. So they the WDF, which I think is Western Desert Forces headquarters, is put in the delay box, along with 2 New Zealand and South African colonial units. And we know these saw a lot of action in North Africa. Great Britain also places an armor unit and another infantry unit on the map. And we have a quote on this strategy card from Winston Churchill, where he said, "Remember, we shall never stop, never weary, and never give in." So you can see in the picture here, we have a depiction of the Australian and Indian forces in Egypt and Libya, and you've got an Italian infantry holding Tobruk. We now go to the Soviet Union strategy, and the Soviets play this Zhukov takes command strategy. So this is causing the Soviet Union to make some changes within the military command with this card, and Georgy Zhukov is named the Chief of the Red Army General Staff. And this card also allows the Soviet Union to deploy 3 infantry units directly to the map, and 2 mechanized units are also placed in the delay box. So that is November, December of 1940 in Europe. Now we'll go take a look at the same period in Asia. So starting with the Japanese player, we have the victory point track is moved to 1 VP to Rising Sun. And remember, I'm playing these games separately together, so they don't directly affect each other, but I am doing this so that I have a narrative. The Japanese strategy chosen is the Imperial Rule Assistance Association. On this card, I also have a quote from Prince Konoye, where he said, "The people must be enlisted to restore the spirit and virtues of the old Japan." So Prince Konoye advances Japanese totalitarianism by creating a political party above parties. And you can see I have a picture here of Japanese nationalism and some of the events that might have been involved in the Imperial Rule Assistance Association. Next, the Japanese army in China launches an attack against the nationalists in Wuhan, which I don't have a picture showing this exact spot, but both sides have headquarters support, and the Japanese has an air force which can provide ground support, but the attack doesn't go well. It is repulsed, and the Japanese 12th Army suffers heavy casualties here. Now we look at the Allies, and their strategy revealed is additional British bases. So the British Army mobilizes an additional infantry unit in the Pacific, and the British deploy an infantry corps in the European box. The British commander sends a detachment to Port Moresby, and then we go to the Soviet Union in the Pacific, and they support Chinese insurgency again. So that's a recyclable card. There's a political table on there, but the result is the struggle continues. So not much came of it. So that brings the year 1940 to an end. So we're going to go back to the European map and finish out the winter with the January-February 1941 turn. Germany is fairly quiet here, but they do reorganize some of their land units on its southern border. Italy is also quiet, except in Libya, and that's where the Commonwealth is pushing back a little bit against them. And then during the political events segment, we have Romania now joining the Axis. So we go over to the Western Allies. They're still trying to recover from the fall of France, and their only area of operation right now is North Africa. So Great Britain does ship some of the armor from England into the Africa box, and then the Commonwealth forces in North Africa launch an attack against the Italian forces in Tobruk, and the Axis formation there falls apart, and the Allies capture Tobruk. Then in Russia, Marshal Zhukov is rearranging his deployments, and not really anything militarily happens on the map there. So that brings 1941, January, February to an end in Europe, but we'll now go over to the Pacific map. The Japanese start, and they begin by launching another offensive against the Chinese nationalists. And this time the target city is again Wuhan and some of the surrounding areas, but the odds are not too favorable. However, the weather is cooperating, so I want to do this at this time. And this time the Chinese are defeated and suffer heavy casualties. So we are having a war of attrition here. However, the city remains under Chinese control. So it wasn't a complete success. The Allies received some Chinese nationalist replacements, and these are moved forward to the position at Wuhan. And then the British are allowed to deploy some detachments, so these are placed in Darwin. And finally, we round out the turn with the Soviet Union funding Chinese insurgency, and the result from the die roll is the struggle continues. So that brings the winter of 1940-1941 to an end. So stay tuned if you'd like to see what happens in the spring of 41. And I thank you for watching, and have a great day.